Madelaine Petsch and I have become like pen pals because we talked on The Strangers Chapter 2, Maintenance Required, and now The Strangers Chapter 3. I'm so excited for people to see the end of this trilogy. What do we need to remember about Chapter 2?
Honestly, not a whole heck of a lot. I really do think you could come into chapter 3 and never have seen 1 and 2 and understand and follow the films, but just remembering that this is a story of survival. This is a story of a woman who was just like people in the audience in movie 1 and had to learn to survive in movie 2. And she does kill a boar in movie 2, so maybe you should remember that she's got some gusto. And then walking into movie 3, you're starting to watch the butterfly come out of the cocoon.
Here we are. February is the release date for this one. It's such a great kind of cross promotion for this kind of holiday. It's not Halloween. It's not coming out around the fall, but we've seen some great movies come out in the winter for this genre, the horror genre. What is that like to be part of that legacy to now continue on in this?
I'm such a big horror fan. I'm always honored to be in the likes of major horror films. I mean, I know Scream 7 comes out later in the month, and yeah, I think it's always a privilege to have a movie in theaters. It's a rarity these days, so I think it should always be celebrated.
Were you cued in with Lionsgate on, okay, chapter 2 came out in September in the fall. Here we are in February, less than a year later, like 6 months later, to finally audiences have to wait no more for chapter 3. What was that process like of bringing it to audiences quicker than ever?
That was the original plan with Lionsgate, and then scheduling kind of got in the way. So between 1 and 2, it was meant to be between 3 to 5 months. And obviously, like we had to do enhancement shoots and then like scheduling, and I don't know, it's so tough to find a window on the release slate that works for every film that doesn't compete and all these things. So the second film was tough to land, and then when we were landing the second, we were like, let's be ballsy. Let's put the third out there as well at the same time. And so it was a conversation about like, how do we do that? How do we maximize it? And this is, I think, the way we wanted people to always consume. So it was a really fun and exciting thing to find this date.
So exciting for audiences to get that so quickly. And talk about the shooting process of movies 1, 2, 3, and then possibly going back for reshoots. What was it like to kind of shoot there and then return to kind of reshoot some other scenes?
Yeah, we shot all 3 films at once, cross-boarded. So I would shoot like movie 2, the first week of shooting was all movie 2. The first scene I shot was the scene where I found out my fiance died, spoiler alert. And then I went into movie 3 the following week, and we went back and shot movie 1 at the end of the shoot. So it was kind of like really all over the place, but it really is one long film. And when you shoot film, you never shoot things chronologically. So as long as you keep fair notes about where you're at, for the most part, it is kind of like a normal shooting schedule. Eventually, we did just lock the edit of all 3 films together, and it's about 3 hours and 45 minutes. We cut some stuff out that didn't feel necessary. So eventually, we'd like to put out the kind of long form version of this 3-act film.
That would be so fun to see as an audience member. And you obviously audiences know you obviously have more than 100 episodes of Riverdale. Did you kind of take that same schedule of, okay, you've shot all these episodes as the same character, here you are as the same character in The Strangers for 3 movies, even though it was the same shooting cycle, but you get the privilege of playing the same character that not many people get to do in film?
Yeah, it's actually almost a complete opposite situation, because on Riverdale, I would shoot a scene and not have the script for that episode yet. I would shoot a scene and call Roberto, our showrunner, and be like, "Hey, what's happening in this scene?" He'd be like, "Oh, this is what's going on in the episode." Here, I had all 3 scripts up front, where I got to really carve out a character, and that's what I think a lot of actors gravitate towards in film, is the beginning, middle, and end of a character. You see it all in front of you, whereas in TV, I can be, crying over my dead brother in season 1 of Riverdale, and I could be a witch in season 5, and I have no idea I'm going there or was ever going to go there. So I think it's actually such a vastly different process, but the innate ability to have a character with you for so long, I will always cherish.
Like you mentioned, this is the end of the trilogy, but Scream 7 coming out later in the month. Horror movies, the possibility is endless for these stories to keep continuing. Do you know if there's more movies of The Strangers in the works? Because audiences will eat it up if there's more.
I can tell you that there is a 3-film version of this film coming out at some point, and that's as much as I can say.
As much as we can say, but we'll talk for your next movie. I love talking to Madelaine Petsch, but people have to see The Strangers Chapter 3, February 6th in theaters. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.